This video was supposed to be recorded and posted on Saturday, but due to certain issues, it wasn't able to. So I'm posting it today. Reason why I say happy Sabbath. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Saquon Lee, and on behalf of Setting the Record Straight, I'm coming back with another video to talk to you guys today about Judaism and how the Star of David has nothing to do with David. It has nothing to do with the Israelites, the Jews, or any of that sort, not even with God, but it has to do with pagan symbols and occult mysticism. But with saying that, I have this book called The 12 Major World Religions by Jason Boyett, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Judaism just to give you guys a backstory of it. But then after that, I'm going to go divulge into how it deals with pagan symbols. Now, with saying that, it says, Judaism is one of humanity's most unique religions too. Unlike most faiths, Judaism passes from one generation to the next, not by proselytization, if I'm saying that correctly, or conversion, but by blood. Being Jewish is more than just a religious claim, it's an ethic claim too. In fact, many people identify as Jews whether or not they practice the religion. Also, by the way, Christianity and the Islamic faith come out of Judaism, so you wouldn't have Christianity or you wouldn't have Islam without Judaism. The emergence and resilience of the faith are also extraordinary. Judaism began as a monotheistic religion surrounded by polytheistic beliefs. From the early stories about Abraham, the Jews claimed that there was but one true God, and all of the people on the earth he chose, of all the people on earth, he chose the Jews as his favorites. He would protect and sustain them. Only to the Jews would God personally reveal himself. This relationship was based on a covenant. The people agreed to worship God and obey God's laws. In return, God agreed to bless the descendants of Abraham forever. Since then, the Jews have overcome many hardships, including exile, expulsion, persecution, and most notably the Holocaust. Its adherents remain only a small percentage of the world's population. Nevertheless, the Jewish faith persists. Now, with telling you guys all of that, let me go into what it says about the Star of David. Now it says this: for centuries, symbols like the menorah or shofar, the ram's horn, were used as visual symbols representing the Jewish faith. So there was this symbol representing ram's horns that was represented for the Jewish faith before it was the Star of David. Now this is what it says: but in the 18th century, Jewish communities in Eastern Europe began using this decorative hexagram, so it's a hex, which dates back to medieval Kabbalah texts, as a Jewish icon. In much the same way Christians used the cross, it became popular worldwide after the First Zionist Congress in 1897 chose this symbol as its symbol. Chose its image as its symbol. Now, as we can see right here, this dates back to medieval Kabbalah texts. But not also that, it said that it came out of Eastern Europe. Now, if you don't know, Europe was filled with many people who did witchcraft, paganism, white magic, black magic, whatever the situation may be. But not just also that. It just said that this is basically a hex. Now, with me telling you all of this, let me go to this man named Stephen Dolan. Now, he was an ex-Satanist turned Christian. He was a high priest when he was in the Church of Satan. So he's not some, low-ranked person. He actually was high initiated and high above a lot of people and told people what to do. He wasn't the one being told things to do. He was the one doing that. So with saying that, he talks about many different other pagan symbols that I'll talk about at a later time. But listen to what he says about the Star of David.
Here's the next one. This is a hexagram, exactly as it sounds. This symbol is used in black magic. It comes from the Jewish Kabbalah, Jewish magic. It is a symbol of dark summoning. What I mean by that is that if you want to put a hex on somebody, you want to cause a spirit to come forth, this is the symbol that's used. It's called a hexagram. Now, it is not, never has been, never will be the Star of David. Show me in Scripture anywhere where David was instructed to come up with a symbol of a star representing him or the city or the country of Israel. It's not there. The other thing is that Solomon was a wise king, but he was also a dabbler. Why do I say that? Because Solomon had many wives. And those wives came from different cultures. And those different cultures worshiped different gods. And guess what they brought to the marriage with them? Witchcraft. They brought those gods with them. Why do I say that? I don't. God does. Go to 1 Kings, chapter 11. Starting with verse 1. But when King Solomon loved many strange women. Why were they strange? Because they didn't worship the same God. They didn't worship the God of Israel. Together with the daughters of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, and Hittites, of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, Ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. For it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, which is also called Astaroth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination, there's that word, of the Ammonites. And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, and went not fully after the Lord, as did David his father. Then images the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves. When Solomon had the temple built, he used people from a land called Tyre. Tyre worshipped a god called Baal. This is the symbol of Baal, not the stars of David. This is the seal of Solomon. It comes from the Jewish Kabbalah. And in that time, that's Jewish magic. You see, not all Jews worship the same God. Does that mean that the people of Israel, because they've taken that symbol for the symbol of their country, does that mean that they're evil? No. They're deceived. It's very subtle. And Satan, we all know that Satan can deceive people very, very well.
So something very interesting just came up. I haven't finished this book. I'll talk about it a little bit and some videos that's up to come, but then also some that I've already posted. But it talks about this symbol right here. It's the Star of David, but it has the all-seeing eye in it. But it goes on to talk about it, and I'm just going to skip a little bit of this to explain it. And it says, this is the mythical representation of Shu lifting up the heavens. Horus was then given all the attributes of Set, and the triangle Set became blended with the triangle of Horus, and formed these double triangles in various phases, which were associated with the name of Horus only, first in the stellar cult, and later carried on in their solar cult, and some of them afterwards into the Christian doctrines. One combination formed of these two triangles is that with the all-seeing eye and the century. This form is an ideographic symbol for Horus, as the god of the pole star north and south, having the all-seeing eye. This originated with these old stellar cult people. At the equatorial provinces, the two pole stars could be seen resting on the horizon, and these were symbolized in one form as two eyes called Merti, in Egyptian. In Egyptian, these two eyes were therefore ideographs for the two pole stars. But when the South Pole Star had disappeared below the horizon and the North Pole Star had risen in the heavens, there was only one eye. The North Pole Star had figuratively absorbed the South, and this North Pole Star became a symbol or type of the eternal, because apparently it never happened with time. It was the earliest type of supreme intelligence which gave the law, which was unerring, just and true. It was also a type or symbol of the great judge or just one. The interpretation, therefore, of this symbol, sign or ideograph, figure 42, is Horus, or Tgaotu, the eternal Lord of the North and South, the great judge, unerring, just and true, Lord of the all-seeing eye. This was always associated with Horus of the stellar cult only. Honestly, if you don't know, Set is really Satan, by the way. It says on page 111, although it is used as a sacred symbol by the Jews, it was brought on from the old stellar cult. The Jews left out the all-seeing eye and therefore tried to convert it into a symbol of Horus, of the double horizon, or Eha, in their terminology, but the original had the dot or eye in the century. It was never intended to be a sign or symbol of Horus, of the double horizon originally. It was a symbol of the Abad of Horus, god of the north and south, god of the all-seeing eye, and proof of this is the fact that it has the phonetic signification of Sab-Ao, an Egyptian abode of stars or subdivision of the celestial world, which was situated at the north. You will find this in the list of ideographs of Buston's dictionary, page 497. So as we can see, before it was ever used for the Jewish people, it had a different meaning to it. It's just that these occult people adapted that when they were in captivity.
While other cultures were practicing pantheism, the monotheism of the Israelites kept them unique. When the Israelites were true to their faith, they prospered. When they began to absorb the teachings and practices of the surrounding cultures, the Israelites became oppressed by the civilizations they had previously resisted. Those within Judaism who were tempted by the occult practices of the surrounding cultures became the vehicle by which secret societies continued right up to today. Practitioners of the occult within Judaism codified their beliefs in a sub-religion which became known as Kabbalah. On the surface, Kabbalism appears to be Judaism. In reality, it is the exact opposite of Judaism. The Kabbalah offers an occult counter-explanation to the revelations of the Jewish prophets and the history of the Israelites. The Kabbalah depicts Moses as an occult figure whose purpose was to initiate the Israelites back into the more enlightened and advanced teachings of Egypt. We must grasp this if we are to understand much of what is happening in Israel today. We must also understand that the teachings of all secret societies flow through the Kabbalah.
A girlfriend of mine was going all the time and to these classes. They're classes. It's the Kabbalah Learning Center. And basically the Kabbalah is the mystical interpretation of the New Testament. And she kept telling me about this really charismatic rabbi named Eitan who told these great stories, and she kept going on and on about it. And and I said, Susan, I'm not even Jewish. Why are you telling me these things? And she's like, you don't have to be Jewish. Just come and take study. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, leave. So I did.
Those of you who have not learned what some call the deep things of Satan, I know your works, but I have this against you. That you have abandoned the love you had. And the soul beast rising out of the sea with 10 horns and 7 heads, and a blasphemous name upon its head, and the beast that I saw was like a leopard, its feet were like a bear's, and its mouth was like a lion's mouth, and to it the dragon gave his power. And the whole earth followed the beast with wonder, and they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like the beast, and who can fight against the beast? It opened its mouth to utter blasphemous words against God.
Now that I've gone over all of that for you, let me go into this book that I have already. It's called Occult Theocracy by Edith Starr Miller and the lady Queen Barra. And she talks about many different things in this book, but she gives in the appendix a meaning for all the signs and symbols that are associated with paganism and Masonic symbols. But she talks about on page 717. And actually, I'm going to go into these two signs right here. It's the star with the point going up, then the star point going down. And this says the flamboyant star, blazing star, microcosm, or Solomon's seal, emblem of generation pointing up, which is good. Now remember, witchcraft, people who practice witchcraft, they believe they're practicing good magic, white magic. So their symbol goes up. Now, flamboyant star, star of the morning, emblem of Lucifer, pointing downward, evil, black magic. which is the point going downward. Now, as we can see, for the interlaced triangles, symbol of the double divinity, Jehovah, white and Jehovah black. Other names, macrocosmos, Star of David, Solomon's seal, and it represents the sex force. Now, the triangle pointing up represents the male genitive principle, which is in the male area. Then the one going down represents the female genitive principle, which is the uterus. And you combine them, you equal union. So as we can see, this is nothing but a sex symbol. It has nothing to do with David, Solomon, Jesus Christ, none of that. So as we can see, this is nothing but demonic doctrine.
Masonic source in the world, Morals and Dogma, page 292. And in case you don't believe me, I photocopied it so that you can see it. There you can see the symbol. Can you see that? It is the staff of Osiris. On the medal of Constantinople, in hoc signat eris, whatever the inscriptions. And then some other interesting things. So this is the staff of Osiris. And then it goes through the mystic Tau and the crosses and the stars of David. And then he so-called secret symbols. If you look at them, you'll find some of them are very interesting. We're not going to go into all of them. Let's enlarge some of them. If you thought that had something to do with Volkswagen, I suggest you think again. Those are the two V's, one inside the other, representing the union of the two deities. And if you thought that was the heart of the Union Jack, then you will know now that the Union Jack means that Great Britain is a Masonically controlled country. So is its religion, as we will see. These are all symbols of, this is Aquarius, for example. If you thought that was the Star of David, then ask yourself why before Masonry was around, there was no Star of David. And
now I just want to leave you guys off with this real quick, where it talks about Judaism, and it talks about the Pharisees. And it says, in his book, Nicholas II et les Juifs, if I'm saying that correctly, Nech Volaval, excuse me, it's hard names to pronounce. But it says, explains that the Chaldean science acquired by many of the Jewish priests during the captivity of Babylon gave birth to the sect of the Pharisees, whose name only appears in the Holy Scriptures and in the writings of the Jewish historians after the captivity, 606 BC. The works of the celebrated scientist monk leave no doubt on the point that the sect appeared during the period of the captivity. So the Pharisees didn't appear until after the captivity. So as we can see, certain people were corrupted when they were in captivity, whether it was Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, Rome. These people took on certain Kabbalistic views from these standpoints, but specifically Babylon, because that's where they were put first. So they took all what the Chaldeans were being taught as far as when it comes to mysticism and everything, and they put that and flipped it into their own little thing, and then they ran with it. So as you had people practicing the true doctrine that was given to Moses off of Mount Sinai, when he brought that down to the people, you had certain people practicing the true belief. Then you had in the corner people practicing belief that wasn't so godly. But I'm going to go to this man's page named Truth Unedited, where he talks about this specific scene on how there was this prophet, this man, God pulled him by his hair, and he went in a vision, by the way, not physically. But yeah, he pulled him and he brought him and showed him what was going on in the house of Israel.
So when I saw it, I fell on my face and heard a voice of one speaking. That's Ezekiel chapter 1, verses 26 through 28. Let's keep going. And he said to me, Son of man, stand on your feet, and I will speak to you. Then the Spirit entered me when he spoke to me, and set me on my feet, and I heard him who spoke to me. And he said to me, Son of man, I am sending you to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that has rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me to this very day, for they are impudent and stubborn children. I am sending you to them, and you shall say to them, Thus says Yahweh Elohim. As for them, whether they hear or whether they refuse, for they are a rebellious house, yet they will know that a prophet has been among them. And you, son of man, do not be afraid of them, nor be afraid of their words. Though briars and thorns are with you, and you dwell among scorpions, do not be afraid of their words, or be dismayed by their looks, though they are a rebellious house. You shall speak my words to them, whether they hear or whether they refuse, for they are rebellious. But you, son of man, hear what I say to you. Do not be rebellious like that rebellious house. Open your mouth and eat what I give you. Ezekiel chapter 2, verses 1 through 8. And this is how the start of the book of the prophet Ezekiel begins. You see, Yahuwah still loved and chose this rebellious nation. You see, he spoke of them continuously as being rebellious children. But through all that, he still had a plan for them. And the book of Ezekiel and Jeremiah specifically shows us this. They were in exile and in despair. But Yah chose prophets to warn them, yes, but he also chose them to give them hope. I think it's first important to understand Yah's anger with his people. So let's deal with that. As we read Ezekiel, we hear the anger of Yah because his people broke his covenant. They rejected him. The word says, "And it came to pass in the 6th year, in the 6th month, on the 5th day of the month, as I sat in my house with the elders of Judah sitting before me, that the hand of Yahuwah Elohim fell upon me there. Then I looked, and there was a likeness, like the appearance of fire, from the appearance of his waist and downward, fire, and from his waist and upward, like the appearance of brightness, like the color of amber. He stretched out the form of a hand, and took me by a lock of my hair. And the Spirit lifted me up between earth and heaven, and brought me in visions of Elohim to Jerusalem, to the door of the north gate of the inner court, where the seat of the image of jealousy was, which provokes to jealousy. And behold, the glory of the Elohim of Israel was there, like the vision that I saw on the plain. Then he said to me, Son of man, lift your eyes now toward the north. So I lifted my eye toward the north, and there, north of the altar gate, was this image of jealousy in the entrance. Furthermore, he said to me, Son of man, do you see what they are doing? The great abominations that the house of Israel commits here, to make me go far away from my sanctuary? Now turn again, you will see greater abominations. So he brought me to the door of the court, and when I looked, there was a hole in the wall. Then he said to me, Son of man, dig into the wall. And when I dug into the wall, there was a door, and he said to me, Go in and see the wicked abominations which they are doing there. So I went in and saw, and there, every sort of creeping thing, abominable beast, and all the idols of the house of Israel, portrayed all around on the walls. And there stood before them 70 men of the elders of the house of Israel, and in their midst stood Jazaniah the son of Shaphan. Each man had a censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up. Then he said to me, Son of man, have you seen what the elders of the house of Israel do in the dark? Every man in the room of his idols. For they say, Yahuwah does not see us. Yahuwah has forsaken the land. And he said to me, Turn again, and you will see greater abominations that they're doing. So he brought me to the door of the north gate of Yahuwah's house, and to my dismay, women were sitting there weeping for Tammuz. Then he said to me, Have you seen this, O son of man? Turn again, you will see greater abominations than these. So he brought me into the inner court of Yahuwah's house, and there, at the door of the temple of Yahuwah, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men with their backs toward the temple of Yahuwah and their faces toward the east. And they were worshiping the sun toward the east. And he said to me, Have you seen this, O son of man? Is it a trivial thing to the house of Judah to commit the abominations which they commit here? For they have filled the land with violence. Then they have returned to provoke me to anger. Indeed, they put the branch to their nose. Therefore, I also will act in fury. My eye will not spare, nor will I have pity. And though they cry in my ears with a loud voice, I will not hear them. That's Ezekiel chapter 8, verses 1 through 18. Wow. Look at what happened there. Yah took Ezekiel.
So as we can see, like Stephen Doylan said, not everybody practiced and worshiped the true God in the house of Israel. They had corrupt people there, and you also had people who was faithful and devoted to the one true God. But with saying that, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys have a blessed day. Happy Sabbath to everyone. Love you. Have a blessed day. Get in your word. Jesus is coming, people.